Well, appreciate you guys as always taking time to cover our team, and being that it's Thanksgiving week, obviously don't want it to be the only time that we sit back and think about the things we're grateful for and thankful for, but obviously this week in particular want to. So start with myself. Just some things that I'm really thankful for and grateful for, obviously. My Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, man, with him, all things are possible. Thankful for the relationship I have with him that needs to continue to grow week in and week out. Thankful for my wife, Rachel, who is a mother of 3 kids under 5, and does a phenomenal job with our kids that we're called to be here to have an impact on our players, this community, and it can only do it with her by my side. I'm thankful for our players too. Just thankful for them and the work they put in, and we've been through some hard things this season, but they've gotten up off the mat every single time and kept swinging. Thankful for our staff, short week, working their tails off, bringing a lot of good energy with this team, and even with some of the stuff we've been through, not flinching, finding answers, growing. Thankful to have the best athletic director in the country in Jeremiah Dickey that not only wants to win games, which you all want to, but wants to have an impact on the student athletes and make a difference. So, and then lastly, I'm thankful for Bronco Nation. Always shows up. We have the best fan base in the country. No matter what, they support us. They support our team. They support what we're doing. They support doing football the right way and being all about impacting young men and growing them to be world changers. And so thankful for that. In regards to the game on Saturday, proud of how our team was able to come out and win. Proud of us starting fast. The 3 biggest stats you look at in games is the explosive play battle and the turnover battle. We had 15 explosive plays on offense. We gave up 5 on defense. That's a win for the Broncos. And then when you look at the turnover margin, we were +2. We took the ball away 4 times, obviously turned it over twice, which we need to continue to work in and grow. But whenever you win those 2 stats, it's a huge win for our team. And our team was on the attack. That's coaches, that's players. Obviously, there's some things in the game that you look at, you want to fix, and we need to grow in, and that's what we're doing as coaches. It's all about us to start. But proud of how our guys were able to respond and play much better and grow, and we need to. We need to be on the rise, and I believe that we're going to continue to work our tails off to grow. Obviously got a huge opponent in Utah State on a short week, Friday at 2 o'clock. They're undefeated at home. They've played extremely well at home. They obviously had a big-time road win at Fresno State, played them really well. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but we know the home atmosphere is going to be really good. Weather might be a part of it, which we've been in weather games before, but it might be cold, might get snow, might get some rain. We'll see what it is, but we know their fan base is big time as well, and they're going to pack that place out. So we know those are some things that we got to deal with the environment, and they played really well at home. And then, I think the world of Bronco Mendenhall. He's been a guy that I've known for a while now, pick his brain on things, and he's a guy that does the right way. He's a guy that I think, coaches to have an impact, and I've seen him from afar for a long time, got to know him over the couple years, and he just has always done a really good job with the teams he's coached, and obviously no different at Utah State. You watch this team in all 3 phases. They play very, very hard, and they're really physical. It doesn't matter what position you play on at Utah State, you're going to be a physical football team, and they do that. Offensively, talk about their quarterback to start, Bryson Barnes. When we got done with our game, had media and some other stuff on Saturday and went home, and my wife Rachel was watching a couple games, and we're watching the Utah State-Fresno State game, and a couple plays in that game, she looks at me and she says, "That quarterback is so good." I'm like, "Babe, you're 100% correct." And he's an impressive player, man. Not only just in the plays he makes, Bryson Barnes is tough. He'll take hits. And he's an absolute elite competitor. I think the world of Bryson Barnes. Just watching his body of work, and he's been doing it for a long time. But what he's been able to do this season, he's probably going to be the offensive player of the year in our conference. And he's absolutely deserving of that. So we know we got to find a way to slow down number 16. Their offensive line does a really good job. They've you see them against Fresno State. They were able to impose their will in the run game. They've got receivers and tight ends that can make people miss and make the big-time catch. And they got one of the better running backs in our conference, and number 2, that can really take it the distance. You see a couple of the big-time explosive runs. And they're a top 25 offense for a reason. And they're on the attack. They put you in a lot of conflict. And you might cover everything down the pass game, but if number 16's got room, it's going to be a problem. And so it's really hard to defend, and we've got our work cut out for us defensively. On the flip side, their defense, they play really, really hard defensively. They base out of a 3 down front. They get to a lot of different pressures. They attack Their guys play really, really hard. Their linebacker, number 20, is one of the better linebackers in our conference. I mean, he's one of the top stat leaders around. But overall, they play really hard. They're really sound. Obviously, Bronco being a defensive background, they're going to give you some looks to attack you. They're going to pick their pressures. They're going to have really good coverage adjustments. Their back end plays well together. Number one, a corner transfer from New Mexico, is one of the better DBs in our conference. And then Ike Larson, number 18, also a really good player on special teams, is one of their safeties, and he's all around the ball, really good tackler. So we know they're going to be on the attack defensively, going to play really hard, and they do a good job creating turnovers. And we know if we get to third down, they're going to have a lot of different packages to attack us. We've got to be ready for those things. Special teams-wise, they've got some really good returners, just like we see every week, but they're going to be really sound on special teams. They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to play really, really hard and physical, and they're going to make sure they find ways to win the hidden yardage. So got a lot of respect for Bronco, a lot of respect for Utah State, undefeated home, probably right now playing better than almost anybody in our conference. And that's a testament to them, their staff. And so we as a team got our work cut out for us. It's a huge game at 2 o'clock on Friday.
Last week was your first game without Amarion McCoy starting. How did you feel about the performance from Demetrius Freeney and Sherrod Smith?
Yeah, I thought both of them did a good job. Weren't tested a ton, but, man, they did a really good job. I mean, both those guys we believe in. We call Demetrius Freeney Meach. So, I mean, Meach and Rod, they both do a good job. We're going to rotate both of them this week, but I'm very, very confident in both of them. Obviously, Jeremiah had a great outing and put together a really good senior campaign, but both Meach and Rod, we feel very confident going in there to play and play a lot.
Back at the beginning of the season, we're talking about Sire and, we're saying like it's taken him a couple games to, really, and he's really starting to hit game speed. But man, these last 2 weeks, it feels like he's just also hit another gear. Why has he been able to, look more explosive, or I don't know if that's the right way to phrase it. But
yeah, it is.
But he's been really explosive. I mean, he had 4 explosive runs himself last week.
That's right. Yeah, I think Sire Gaines' Colorado State game was the best game of the season for him, and probably in production, but more just how he went about it. Jay, he was explosive. He broke a lot of tackles. MAs weren't there, missed assignments. He was doing what he was supposed to do. And I think a lot of it is just the biggest message for me with Cy, and I know for him, is go be you, man. Go be you. Go have fun playing football. You're a redshirt freshman. Cut it loose. Trust your training. Trust the Lord. Go let it rip, man. And he's showing that because he's a football guy. He's a Boise State Bronco through and through. Go out there and cut it loose, man. You're not going to be perfect. You're young. Give yourself grace. Hold yourself to high standards, but when you make mistakes, fix them and move on. And Coach Jamo's done a really good job with him, and he's playing really good football right now.
What stood out about maybe the rhythm of play calling Nate Potter was in after you've had time to watch the film?
Yeah, I thought Coach Potter and our offensive staff did a really good job with the game plan going into Colorado State. We were on the attack. Running the football is a DNA part of what we do, so that's something we have to be able to do consistently, and we're able to do against Colorado State. And from that opened up a lot of the different pass games we were able to get to, but we wanted to be on the attack. We wanted to attack through the run, through the pass, through the screen game, and I thought Coach Potter did a really good job mixing it up, and that's a mentality we want to have offensively. Doesn't mean it's always going to go perfect. We had some drop balls, we had some missed blocks, we had some missed assignments. But we were on the attack, and I want our players to always feel that way in all 3 phases. And I thought Coach Potter and our offensive staff did a really good job.
Watching the Utah State-Fresno State game after your game Saturday, seeing that path kind of become clearer to the Mountain West Championship game, what was your reaction? And I know you guys are going to want to win no matter what the situation is, but how much extra does that bring for you guys this week? Yeah,
it's exciting. I mean, it's exciting to be a team that week 12 of college football season still has everything to play for. Right, and there's a lot of teams in the country that maybe don't have that kind of path in front of us. So my message to our team was just enjoying this moment. I said, guys, look, we've been knocked on the mat this season. We've been knocked down, but they got back up every single time and kept swinging. Right now, what's promised to us is a big-time matchup against Utah State, and we're going down there to work our tails off to play our best. But I think when you're in a situation like 4 or 5 of us Mountain West teams are right now, it's exciting. And it's November football, and it's week 12 of the season. But our sole focus is to play our best against Utah State.
Now Max has played a couple of games, has a good game this past weekend. Can you see a little bit more of a confidence and readiness to go about him heading into this week?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, seeing the couple weeks of prep, he's been the starter now through consecutive weeks, Sean, and he's got a great demeanor about himself, not trying to be anybody but himself. He's executing well in practice. He's got a really good confidence about himself, and that's going to continue to rise.
Maddox, you still thinking maybe not?
I think it's still going to be a long shot for him this week. He's doing a great job in the training room. He's getting much closer, but I still think it's going to be tough for him to be able to play this weekend.
How's Chris?
Yeah, so Chris practiced today, did a really good job today. So Chris will be ready to rock this weekend. Jason Steele practiced today, which will be awesome. Latrell Caples, we're still kind of going through stuff with him, but he's a warrior. So we'll see what we can get. We'll know more here in the next 24 hours about Latrell. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing on the injury side of things. I think those are the main ones right now, off the top of my head.
I mean, touch on Latrell. How was he doing? Like, go back and look. It seemed like such a good awkward fall. I don't even know what really happened there.
Yeah, he's doing good. I mean, it was an interesting thing that happened. If you watch the film, like his head didn't hit the turf. It was almost like his shoulder pads and how they hit his neck. And our trainers kind of gave me this whole biological rundown that still to this day doesn't make sense to me. But like watching the clip, you're kind of like, why'd that happen? But he's in really good spirits. He's in a good spot. It's also week 12 of the season, so he's just banged up, beat up, and we're always going to put our players' safety number one. But I feel confident that Latrell is going to be able to play. He was banged up today and wasn't able to go through a lot of practice, but he's an absolute warrior. He's a team guy, and so I feel confident that he's going to be ready.
Mason Randolph's video of him running out of the tunnel with the hammer.
Yes.
He was running out like
So cool.
The joy of a little kid on Christmas morning, it seemed like.
So cool. I mean, when we told Mace that he was going to carry out the hammer for senior night and that was earned and deserved, I mean, the joy he had on it, wasn't like, okay, cool. The joy on his face, he was like, I've waited 5 years for this moment. And I about started crying when he was telling me this because the joy, I mean, he was so fired up to be able to do that, which is such a symbolic part of our blue-collar mentality here. And Mason Randolph embodies our blue-collar mentality here. So for him to be able to carry the hammer on senior night, earned and deserved.
Bronco Mendenhall, he's coached some good games against Boise State over the years. As a head coach to a head coach, what do you like about him?
Yeah, I've gotten to know Bronco over the years, and obviously when he was at BYU, we didn't know each other at those times. We got to know him when he was a little bit at Virginia and through his time, so recently. But I just think a guy that does it the right way, coaches his players hard, but loves them even harder and cares about their life. And he's been successful everywhere he's been. I mean, that's uncommon in today's landscape. I mean, BYU was very successful, won a ton of games. Virginia, very successful when prior – Virginia wasn't really that successful. He comes in, changed the program. You look at New Mexico, turns them around last year. Look at Utah State. I mean, what they've been able to do, how they've been able to win, how they've been able to play this season. So he's a program builder. He's a developer. He's a developer of young men. And I got a lot of respect for him. I don't know him extremely well, but have had really good conversations with him from afar. And then obviously being in the same conference together, and we'll continue to be in the same conference. Just got a ton of respect for Bronco and how he goes about his business.
Barnes, he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Just what do you see about his composure?
Guys, I mean, I think he's going to be the offensive player of the year in our conference. He's one of the toughest football players we've seen all season for dang sure, maybe in a while. I mean, he gets hit, he gets up. I mean, you see the look on his face, like, I'm going to will this team to victory, and he does. That's uncommon. And I respect him through the roof on how he's about it. And he can do it all. I mean, he can make the throw. He can make the run. He can make the check. He's smart with the football. They don't turn the ball over. He's an elite quarterback.
Spencer, where do you think you've grown as a head coach this year the most, or where certain areas?
Man, Johnny, hopefully a lot of different areas, because there's been a lot of things that I've had to work through this season and a lot of things that I've had to look in the mirror and learn from and grow from and problem solve. So I think a lot of areas, Johnny, a lot of areas in messaging with the team, how to handle some of the hard situation we've been through. I mean, I went through some things this season that I've never gone through before as a head coach. Never lost on the blue before till this season. Never been through some of these moments. Had to remove a player from the football team. Had to suspend some play. Like, there's some things that I've to date haven't really had to cross a lot and had to this year. And looking at myself and how I can be better, how can I empower our players and our coaches more. So it's a daily process, Johnny. I want to be a constant work in progress, and I want to always be the best version of myself. That's why I tell our team, I can't expect them to be their best if I'm not every single day. We can't hold our players to high standards if us as coaches aren't holding ourselves to the highest standards. So constant work in progress. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today, and that's kind of always how I look at it.
look at like the success of last year's defense, it just seemed like there were a lot of situations where you guys built leads and kind of dictated what opposing offenses did. How nice was it to get in a game where you guys could like kind of just, I say, pin your ears back at time, but rush the passer, and it's like, I mean, there were half dozen guys on defense that you consider like great games, probably, at least statistically for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, two just very different seasons. You know, last year we were not losing in a lot of games. And so I've been asked before, you know, last year we led the entire nation in sacks. Credit to Coach Chinander, credit to our defensive front, our defense in general, no question. But we were winning. And so that dictates what an offense is going to do. And when you can pin your ears back and make an offense one-dimensional, you can let it rip. This season's been very different. We've been in really tight ball games, been losing in games, and we got to find a way to stop the run. So it puts you in different situations than our team was in last season. And every year's a new year. Every team's different. But I'm proud of how our defense has been able to. I mean, right now we're a top 25 defense in total defense. And are we perfect? Absolutely not. We still got to grow in our tackling. We still got to grow in a lot of these situations and how we leverage formations. But I'm proud of how our defense has been able to grow.
I guess more specifically, it just seemed like they were also having fun. And it wasn't just like one guy getting 2 picks, although there was that. But just a lot of guy had production. So what does that do for overall morale, and how does that kind of spread?
It's huge. I mean, especially we've been through some hard things this season, right? We've lost some games. We haven't played our best in games. There's been a lot different things lacking in these situations. And for our team to go out and play very, very hard, physical, bring a lot of juice, that carries, right? Momentum is created from execution. So when someone goes out and gets an interception, gets a sack, gets a 4th down stop, it not only helps the entire team because you got the ball back or made a big stop, the sideline goes crazy. There's a lot of juice. Then when the offense is back up there, it's like, let's go down the field and attack. Let's go. It's a chain reaction. And we've needed that, and we haven't had that in some situations. And so trying to make sure that that's a DNA part of who we are, that we are going to celebrate each other. We're going to have joy with each other, even if it's not going the way we want it to. Because you know what? You're one play away from executing to where the momentum's right back on your sideline, and you're celebrating each other right again. So I think a lot of that comes back to responding to adversity. We haven't responded to adversity great throughout this season. And we talked about Utah State. Utah State's a very good football team. They're going to make a lot of plays. How are we going to respond when they do? Are we going to put our hands up and say, here we go again? I don't think so. I'm proud of our team growing. And yes, we've got a really good team we're playing against. They're going to make plays. How do we respond and play the next one and celebrate each other every single time?
Sire, 22 carries for you guys on Saturday. Obviously, this year you haven't had to hand the ball off to somebody 30 times like last year, but, you know, just talk about the way he's been a workhorse and just able to push through all those carries.
Yeah, just proud how Sai's been able to grow this entire season. And had some, mistakes maybe early on in the season, maybe didn't get the production that he wanted or we wanted for him, but he's just continued to grow, continue to fight and scratch and improve and handle his business. And you want every individual on this team to be growing and on the rise, and I believe Sire is.
Are you proud of the way your players, JVM maybe specifically, handled that situation on Saturday?
I am, yeah. I'm proud of the coaches around JVM, Coach Frazier in particular, grabbing him, making sure that he didn't do something he shouldn't do, because, getting spit-ons, that's a rough one. But I'm proud of him. I'm proud of how Brax were able to handle themselves. And there have been times this season where we have absolutely not handled ourselves with poise the right way. We were the ones committing the personal foul. So I'm proud of our guys in those moments, coaches included, handling themselves the right way.
What is that not meant to kind of your guys' team over these last few years?
Yeah.
It might just be, I don't know, before it was Tyler Crow, was the local kid that was the running back that was good on special teams, and I think they operate with maybe just a little bit of a different intensity, but still, what has that kind of meant, and how good was it to see him get in the end zone on senior night?
Man, it was I would ask people, when you watch Seth score the touchdown, look at what our sideline does. It erupts. Maybe should have been a penalty on that game, because I felt like our entire sideline chased him down into the end zone, and that's a testament to who Seth is. Constant, works his tail off on scout team, giving our defense the best look that he can as a running back or receiver or whatever's needed that week. He's a team guy, local kid that loves his team, loves these brothers. And so in that moment where he scored that touchdown late in the game, our team erupted because they know how much he cares about them.
Roman Caleb's getting a little more run lately too. What have you seen out of him?
Roman Kaywood's a good football player. Redshirt freshman. I mean, we've got some really good young edge guys, and Roman Kaywood's, I mean, I think he's going to be really, really good. He had a big-time play on Saturday with a screen where he was dropping, foot faked, an offensive lineman came in, made a TFL. Roman Kaywood is wired the right way now, too. I mean, he's in this building every day. I don't know what it is, 5:45, maybe 6, going through his regiment, getting his body warmed up, watching film. I mean, he is a machine, and that's uncommon for a kid who's a redshirt freshman. But that's why he's been on the rise. He's got a really good skill set. Coach Frazier's done a really good job with him. And Roman Kaywood's going to be a really good football player here at Boise State.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You guys too. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Overall message for our team, for each individual player is, are you improving throughout a season, throughout this season? Are you getting better each week? And a guy like Cy, he's shown that. He's gotten better and better each week. His confidence is gaining, but I also think he's kind of got that calloused mind and body for the football season. He's getting stronger as the season goes on, and that's something that he's been training for a long time.
What does he do to a defense when you could turn it around and give it to, 220 or whatever pound back 22 times?
I think it's just, it establishes an identity of physicality for our team, for our offense, and it just naturally wears you down a little bit. If he runs like he's capable of every time, that will wear anybody down. And so it's just building on each game for him and continuing to see that rise.
Would you say Max is, I don't know, maybe a drop back passer when maybe Maddox Madsen's more outside the pocket, that type of thing? And if so, is what you were doing on Saturday kind of a part of that? Like you were able to do a lot of dink and dunk, I saw, and just played a Max Cutforth skill set. Is that what you were doing there?
Yeah, I think between him and Maddox, Maddox is a little bit more elusive outside the pocket, even though Max shown that he can extend plays. He did a good job with that. But Max's strengths, to your point, are still in the pocket, are still making quick decisions, being accurate with his throws. And so like we've spoken about before, we're just trying to find ways to best suit his skill set. Every quarterback's different on our roster, every player's different. So we're going to continue to kind of find ways that allow him to play fast like he did last game.
Did it seem like the game fast, or maybe the game slowed down a little for him? I don't know. You just see him out there going through his reads and just making throws. And then after the game, he said things you're just gonna let it rip. I mean, the throw to Cam wasn't necessarily an ideal look, but felt like he could make it, and he ripped it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think like that?
I think it's great. That's exactly where we want him mentally. I think he had those moments, right, where he saw it, he let it rip, made big plays. And then he had moments where it didn't quite work out, but it didn't affect him. He just moved on to the next play. The whole offense did. And that's kind of when we're playing at our best as a group, where we keep that collective attack mentality, and guys are just moving on to the next play. They're not afraid to fail. They're just cutting it loose. So we just got to keep building on that.
I feel like you guys broke out a couple of new formations. I don't know if that was the Maryland I formation down on the goal line. They had 3 backs behind Max down there. But, I mean, was that some formations and some plays you guys were sitting on? Or is that new this week? You were just trying to...
Yeah, that's, everything in college football is taken from somebody else. There's not a lot of original thoughts these days. But that's just something that we had seen that we wanted to try to execute, and our guys did a great job. And anytime you can change it up or make it unique for that week, it just adds a little bit of juice to the guys, and they did a great job executing it, especially the whole line.
And as an OC, I mean, what was that like for you to watch the game and see that executed to such a high degree?
Everything's about the players and the guys. I was just excited for them, for the seniors. You know, that's been my primary focus, is the players and the guys and making sure that they're in position to be successful. And it was fun for me to see them go out and play with joy, have a good experience, especially on senior night, on the blue. That was the most important thing to me.
Not meant to this team, and how nice was it to see him get in the end zone on Saturday?
I think the reaction said it all, right, by our sideline, especially the running back room. Again, he's kind of part of what makes this program great. The fabric of this program is your local walk-ons that contribute in a lot of different phases that maybe the general fan doesn't see. And then he maximizes his opportunity. He gets in there and has some physical, tough runs and then finishes off with a touchdown. And you want to see that with every guy on your team, but especially somebody that's kind of battled through the ranks and kind of earned that right to be on the field and get those opportunities.
It looks like, it's not sure, but the weather for this coming game might be some rain, some snow, might be clear. But just from the game that you had in San Diego State, what did you learn from coaching in those kinds of conditions that you could bring forward?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a balance based on conditions, but the biggest thing is you can't let that affect, the mentality of your group, of the offense, of the players, and that's something that I learned from, obviously, in that game. You got to trust and let those guys go out and execute because they're more than capable.
What is capable of doing for your offense?
Oh, man, he's pretty dynamic in a lot of different ways. He's shown that you can give him the ball in the backfield and you can make something happen. He showed that he's got a little arm, too, last game. And then he's got the ball skills to be a deep threat. I love most about Cam is his mentality and his demeanor, and it's consistent every day. That guy's smile, his just attitude every day, he just brightens up every room he's in.
He's had some really good moments, and a couple ones that he probably wants back in that game. How do you coach him through that, I guess?
Yeah, but that's one of those things where they know that they dropped the football, right? Like that's going to happen. That's part of football. He doesn't need me to remind him that happened. He just needs to move on to the next play, which he did. He did, and Latrell did a great job of that too, just responding. If something bad did happen, it was the next play, and they came through and made more plays later on. So that's what football is, and that's kind of what you got to go through and learn from. But there's always going to be a next play, so you can't let it affect you.
Rightfully so, the Mats in your tight end room get a lot of credit or a lot of pub. I think it was on Malik's first big run of the night. Austin Terry and Luke Voorhees kind of set that thing up. What can you tell us about those guys, the effort on those guys' plays and how they impacted it?
Yeah, it makes me proud because those guys do a lot of work behind the scenes out at practice. I ask them to do a lot of dirty work at practice, and they don't complain. They just go out and they do it to the best of their ability. And every time I put them in a game, they always come through because they're just those type of guys. They're reliable, they're consistent, and that's everything you want.
Did I get that play right? I can't remember how much. And if so, how much did they make that play happen?
Big part of it, yeah. Especially Luke Voorhees, he did a phenomenal job. Yeah, getting movement on the backside. But they had a big part in it, and it was good for a guy like Luke, who's a senior, who was a walk-on. Again, everything that is part of this program has earned that right to be on the field to contribute to those plays.
That double pass. You ever see a tight end make such an athletic play like that to come down with that one-handed grab?
Shoot, probably at some point. We've had some good ones over the years. But the thing with Wags, who made that play, he did that in practice. He made a play like that in practice, so I was confident that it would carry over in the game, and I was excited for him. He deserved that. He did a lot of things, again, that you don't see on a stat sheet during that game, so it's always great to see him go out and make those plays in the big-time moments.
We talked to Lottery last week. He kind of gave us the perspective, he's a guy that wants to go and play in the NFL, and when you're young and in the NFL, doesn't mean you're going to get a ton of targets, right? You better figure out how to do some other things to impact the team. It feels like he's been in that role the last few weeks. That being said, how nice was it to see him get the ball a few times against Colorado State?
Yeah, it was great. He deserves the ball as much as we can get it to him. It's all within the game. I thought overall, offensively, Max did a good job distributing it to different guys, getting everybody involved. But Matt, he sees the big picture. He knows that he can't be one-dimensional if he wants to continue to play this game. And he's taken a great mentality throughout the whole season that's really helped our entire team, and especially in that room where he's willing to do whatever it takes.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Go for it.
Well, just Spencer was saying their quarterback might be one of a player of the year candidate in the Mountain West. What kind of struggle or what kind of, I can't even think of the word, but what do you need to do against him?
Yeah, well, obviously, they've got some good players at every position, but the offense runs through him. There's a lot of quarterback run game. There's triple option elements in there. He does a really nice job with the RPOs, and he can keep his eyes up even when he pulls the ball and get them downfield late. So it's a lot to practice, you're practicing some almost Air Force-ish things and some true zone read RPOs and some true quarterback plus one runs. And then you got regular 11 personnel offense and you got big boy runs with 12. So they do a nice job with their scheme, a nice job with their personnelling. But it's a lot for us to practice, but we've got to focus on knocking these quarterback runs out.
Well, even with his accuracy, even when you do put pressure on him, do you see kind of his composure stay the same? Is he just someone who just doesn't get rattled?
Yeah, I think, I got a lot of respect for Bryson Barnes. You see some shots he takes when he's running the football and he's bouncing off the turf and he pops right back up and he's mad he didn't get more yards. So he's taking some pretty vicious hits, and he just keeps on rolling. So I don't think those things faze him. I think he's a pretty savvy competitor, and he's willing himself to a lot of extra yardage.
This last week was your first game without Amarion McCoy. What did you see from the tandem of Sherrod Smith and Demetrius Free?
Yeah, I think those guys did some good job. Do a good job. I think as everyone expected, first time starting and or rotating in like that, there was going to be some mistakes made, and they got some things to work on and clean up. But I thought they did a pretty good job. They played with good technique most of the game. They played physical. They were in good phase all the time. There's the one deep ball where Sherrod got turned around. I think it was Sherrod got turned around a little bit. But I thought those guys did a good job. They operated in all the calls, and I was proud of the way they played.
Seems like Irby was tested early and often. He's up for the challenge once again. What does a guy like that mean to your defense? Oh,
it's awesome, and I think I was happy for him. Obviously, get a couple more picks under his belt, but I don't know if we expected that. I thought that they might test the young guys early, and they went after Jeremiah, and probably that was, they got a young quarterback, so that was probably just more scheme. He just happened to be there at that point in time, but I'm glad he was there on a couple of those because he made some really nice plays. But happy for him, the season he's had, happy for the way he's ended it, and just what a great young guy.
How proud of you were you of JVM for not getting baited into a personal foul?
Yeah, if you guys want me to be honest, I didn't even know that happened. And I know, Coach Frazier did a good job of handling that situation on the sideline. I kind of heard a commotion going on. They kind of kept it away from me, which I'm glad, because I didn't need to get all worked up at that point in time. But super proud of him that's one of those deals where, you lose your cool, and then it's probably 15 yards on him because the officials didn't obviously see the first act that went on. And we tell our guys all the time, it's never the first act that gets caught. It's always the second act. So happy for JV that he kept his composure. Happy for the coaches on the sideline that got those guys calmed down and got them back into a good mental place so I could get everything adjusted.
A weird little statistics we were given is that after 4 games, you moved down to the sideline instead of the press box. And since that time, the defense is performing better, 7 less points per game, and the defensive backs or passing yards have gone way down. Do you think that's just a coincidence, or is there something to that?
Probably a little bit of both. They're playing their technique better. We're playing better football, but I think it helps. There's certain times where I like to be in the box and I like to see things. That's good. But there's also times where I like to look guys in the eye. I like to make some adjustments down there with, could be with the front or the back end or everybody together. There's just times where we need to get settled down and we need to get all together and we all need to talk this thing through. So I think that, I'd like to think it helped. I don't know if that's the catalyst or not, but it feels good to be down there with those guys and make sure that if I need to get a point across, I can get it across to them and look them in the eye and let them know where I'm at.
Anything else?
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Have a good one.
That's great.